Hello and welcome to the Ross Cloud Podcast. I'm your host, Carl Ross Sr., and this platform was created to motivate and to inspire in hopes that you will become a better you. You know, before I get the show started, I always like to say thank you to all of you guys that are tuning in right here in North Carolina. Stand up. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening, especially to my hometown, Winston-Salem, North Carolina. We love to call it the Trey Folk. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening. In Greensboro, North Carolina, the Gate City. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening. Charlotte, North Carolina, QB. That's the Queen City. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening. That's QC, excuse me, not QB, QC. The Queen City, Charlotte, North Carolina, and Boardman, thank you guys. Goldsboro, thank you guys for tuning in. And Brooklyn, do or die. I love it. Brooklyn, thank you for tuning in and listening. New York City on a whole. New York. Thank you guys for tuning in. Clemens, thank you guys for tuning in Kernersville and High Point, North Carolina. Down in Fayetteville, North Carolina, Vietnam. And shout out to my peeps down there, Mike Anderson. What's happening, brother? Indianapolis and Oklahoma City, Concord. Houston, Texas. Thank you guys for listening. Kings Mountain. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening. Kissimmee, Apex, Atlanta, Aurora, Catawba, Chester, Cincinnati, Cincinnati, Ohio. Thank you guys for listening. Clayton and Dudley and Gastonia, Hampton and Germantown and, hey man, Kannapolis and Kinston, Lawton, Lexington, Mount Airy, North Carolina, stand up. Thank you guys for representing to the Phyllis, Poptown and Piedmont. And I'm telling you, you guys are listening. Pompano Beach area. Thank you guys for listening and tuning in. Raleigh, North Carolina, and Sebring, Syracuse, Washington, Waxhaw, Wexford, and Wyoming. Get out of here. Thank you guys for listening and tuning in. Of course, abroad, Brussels, Belgium. Bonjour and hello to Dutch and the Flemish folks over there, and to the French folks speaking in Belgium, in Brussels, Belgium. Thank you guys for tuning in and checking out the Ross Cloud Podcast. In India and Belize, to my family down there in Belize, the United Kingdom and Canada, Gabon and Indonesia. Oh man, more folks are listening over there in Korea and yeah, man, we're super excited about you guys tuning in. And Peru and, oh, man, beautiful Poland. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening. And we have to remember Brittany Griner. Let's keep her family and her in prayers as she goes through this ordeal that she is going through. And hopefully this situation can be rectified, whatever the issue is. I'm not going to get into that because I haven't studied that much. But Brittany Griner is still a part of the United States. She's a part of us, black folks, part of our family, and just our family over here in the U.S., period. You know, that's keep her in prayers, and that God will strengthen her through this ordeal, all right? So listen, our topic on today is going to be pretty special, you know. Well, I'll put it this way. It's special to me, and I think everybody can benefit from it. And that is the word leader or leadership. I'll give the meaning of both of those and go ahead and get right into it. But what I want to talk about today is being a leader or leadership on a whole. So I'm going to give the meaning, first of all, to the word leader, and then I'm going to read some information that was very vital for me to continue to improve as a leader. If you want to call yourself a leader, or, you don't have to necessarily have to be a CEO to be a leader. But I'm going to read this great information that I have that talks about leadership. And again, I always get stuff from the offline or from emails, different emails that I subscribe to as it pertains to leadership. It's good to read and have awareness of a certain skill set or whatever it is. If you are a leader, it's good to read resources that are available on the internet to help continue to groom you, to help you navigate through the role that you may have and whatever that role is. So I wanted to kind of talk about leadership today. And I know leadership is so important for all of us, whether you're a father, whether you are, again, CEO of a business, maybe you're a coach, whatever the case may be. We're going to talk about the word leader. And again, as I talk to you, I talk to myself. Nobody gets it right. Nobody gets it right the first time. There's some trial and error that comes along with you becoming a leader. And if you're going to be a good follower, then good followers 9 times out of 10 makes good leaders, and they make good leaders. And the reason I say that is because as a follower, you're going to make mistakes while you're up under the tutelage, while you're up under the leadership, and they're going to, while you're up under leadership, and there may be some things that you may agree or disagree with the leadership that you're under, at the time that you're following. But here's what I will say. Humility is going to be a big part of your success, whether you are a follower or whether you are a leader. And I think that's one thing that we all can agree. And hopefully you learn something while you've been following that will qualify you to be a leader. So let's just keep that in mind. And remember, as I talk to you, I talk to myself. So let's go ahead and get started. So the word leader is what I'm going to start off with. Leader, that's Leader. And that is the person who leads or commands a group, organization, or a country. I'll give you an example. A leader of the leading article or editorial in a newspaper. It's leading the way, right? So let's go ahead. Here's another form. This word is leadership. And we're going to talk about different styles, too, along the way, too. So I just wanted to kind of just get the ball rolling with the word leader first. And then let's go ahead and talk about this word leadership. So here we go. Leadership, both as a research area and as a practical skill, encompasses the ability of an individual, group, or an organization to lead, influence, or guide other individuals, teams, organization. The word leadership often gets viewed as a contested term. Specialist literature debates various viewpoints on the concept, sometimes contrasting Eastern and Western approaches to leadership. And also within the West, the North America versus European approaches. So that word right there is leaders. First I gave you leaders, and then I gave you leadership. Again, at the beginning, I talked about leadership, being a leader, and how most followers, good followers, become good leaders or find themselves in a leadership role. It doesn't mean that they didn't make mistakes as a follower. It means that, they passed the test. They went through the ups and downs. They went through various challenges and different things that they had to do in order to be a good leader. At the time they were following. They had no idea that they were being groomed or even challenged to be a leader. So, I thought that this would be something good that we all could benefit from. I've been a benefactor of being up under good leadership, whether I agree with that leadership or I disagreed with, whether I agree with the leadership or whether I disagreed with the leadership, I still was able to learn and to apply some of the skills that I learned from being up under leadership, good, bad, indifferent, agreeing or disagreeing. It was good that humility played a big part of me being a good follower, and then later on being able to apply some of those skills that I have learned so far as being a leader. So I'm going to read this. And again, I like to read stuff from different areas or different things that I've studied or read on an email. There's certain things that I subscribe to, as stated before. I subscribe to a lot of different things as it pertains to leadership because I'm in a leadership role. And it's important that even though I may have erred or I'm erring in an area of my life where leadership is very important, it's good to have some accountability and go back and look at resources that can help you be effective, or you have someone that you can call on that can help you navigate through leadership. Maybe it's a business owner that's been in leadership and in business for 25, 34, 35 years and is successful at it. And not necessarily that amount of time frame, but, maybe they're in a leadership role and they've been in that leadership role for 2-3 years or 5 years, and they are very effective and are being successful, and they begin to really move forward and become that leader that they so are desiring, or they've been up under the tutelage and been a great follower, and now it's their turn to lead. So leadership is so important. So here's something that I want to read to you, something, and you can get this off of the website, and that is thebalancecareers.com. That's thebalancecareers.com. Again, these are some resources that I read to help me become a better leader, and not only that, be effective at what I'm doing and understand what I'm doing. So, and just being a leader, sometimes you got to go back and read some resources. Maybe you missed it, but there are ways that you can continue to become better if you want to. There are resources resources that are available for good leadership. And again, if you have someone that you can call on, maybe it's like I said before, a business leader or a preacher or a pastor or whatever it is, someone that you can look up to. Maybe it's the brother in the mosque, whatever it is, someone that you can look up to that qualifies, that's saying, hey, he's a leader. He's telling me what's right. And, that just makes great leadership. All right. So again, go to thebalancecareers.com. And this is titled at Important Leadership Skills for Workplace. And this is by Allison Dole. So I'm going to read a little bit of this. And here is 5 essential leadership skills. That's communication, motivation, positivity, creativity, and feedback. Again, those are 5 essential leadership skills: communication, motivation, positivity, creativity, and feedback. And as we go through, maybe we can go back and kind of get the definition of some of those things that we just read. Some of those essential leadership skills that I just read off. All right. So we're going to start with the article. Do you have the leadership skills that employers look for? Whether you are an office manager or project leader, all good leaders require a number of soft skills to help them positively interact with employees or team members. So what makes an effective leader? Effective leaders have the ability to communicate well, motivate their team, handle and delegate responsibilities, listen to feedback, constructive criticism, and have the flexibility to solve problems in an ever-changing workplace. Here's a note. Employers seek these skills in the candidates they hire for leadership roles. Strong leadership skills are also valuable for all job applicants and employees. Listen, whether you're starting out in an entry-level position and looking to move up the career ladder, or you're seeking a promotion, your leadership skills will be among your most valuable asset. So listen, I hope that short paragraph that I read right there on important leadership skills for the workplace success can be helpful. And again, you can go back and you can read some of this information, and hopefully, a lot of this information can help you. Again, you can get this information off the balancecareers.com when you have an opportunity to go back, and you can read it in its entirety. I'm going to just read a few of the snippets. And again, this is by Allison Doyle, and that is careers, thebalancecareers.com. Great resource for leaderships or leaders to help them become better. All right. So here are top 10 leadership skills, what we discussed before. I kind of talked about it in the beginning. All right. So the first one that I just mentioned was communication. Communication. As a leader, you need to be able to clearly explain to your employees everything from organizational goals to specific tasks. Leaders must master all forms of communication, including one-on-one, department, and a full staff conversation, as well as communication via the phone, email, video chat, and social media. Here's an important note. Leaders should establish a steady flow of communication between themselves and their staff or team members, either through an open door policy or regular conversations with workers. That means it's going to be so important for you to have meetings. It's so important for you to follow up. A reminder, a soft reminder, a gentle reminder. So it's good to establish a steady flow of communication, mean repetitively. That means keep it going always, consistency in your communication. A large part of communication involves listening. Leaders should make themselves regularly available to discuss issues and concerns with employees. Other skills related to communications include, and I'm going to read a few of these because it's quite a bit. So here, I'm going to read the first three: active listening, articulating, business storytelling, which should be kind of fun, clarity, I said 3, and correspondence. All right, so those are a few skills related to communication. All right, these skills are related to communication. I read a few of them. I read maybe about 4. Again, you can go back and check out this information at thebalancecareers.com, and you'll find some great resources in there to help you become a better leader. All right. Number 2, motivation. We all can use some type or some form of motivation. It's okay to kickstart someone. That's what I like to call it. Maybe they need a little flame spark to their behind to help them get them moving. And that's okay as long as it's done in the proper way and it's not offensive. It's good to motivate others to become better. I think I love it. All right. So number 2, motivation is the second word that I mentioned. Leaders need to inspire their workers to go the extra mile for their organization. Just paying a fair salary to employees is typically not enough inspiration, although it is important too. Although that's important, Now, don't get me wrong. Everybody like a little cash in their hand or a good check, some residual income. We all like something tangible in our hand, right? There are a number of ways to motivate your workers. You may build employee self-esteem through recognition and rewards. We all like a good reward. Maybe it's a card with some money in it. Maybe it's a trophy. Maybe it's something that says you're important or you're valuable to this company. Maybe it's a set of clothing. Maybe it's some merchandise. When I say clothing, that's what I'm referring to, merchandise. Simple as saying, hey, man, I'm going to take you to dinner. We're going to take you to a 5-star restaurant. We're going to put you up in a hotel for the week and all expense paid. Those are things to motivate your workers. It does something good for the morale. Or by giving employees new responsibilities to increase their investment in the company. Leaders must learn what motivators work best for their employees or team members to encourage productivity and passion. Again, it's just a little spark of flame to let that person know, hey, I see you. I'm encouraging you to do better because I see something there. And skills related to effective motivation include, and again, I'm going to read a few of these. You can go back to thebalancecareers.com, thebalancecareers.com, and read some of these skills. These are the skills related to effective motivation include allowing employee autonomy, ask for input, assessing the interests of staff, convincing, mentoring, open to employee concerns. There used to be back in the day, I don't know if they still do it, but usually there's a place where you can have, you can write down some of your grievances or your concerns, and you can write them down and put them in a card, and whoever's leading the ship gets a chance to read them, but they get a chance to hear what the employees or the team is concerned about. And I think that's so important because you're saying, listen, you're valuable to this team. Tell me, what can we do better to make this a better workplace? What can we better to increase retention within the company? What can we do to keep, just overall things better within the company, So I think those are great tools. And again, that was motivation. Number 2, delegating. Leaders who try to take on too many tasks by themselves will struggle to get anything done. These leaders often fear that delegating tasks is a sign of weakness, when it actually can be a sign of a strong leader. Therefore, you need to identify the skills of each of your employees and assign duties to each employee based on his or her skill set. By delegating tasks to staff members, you can focus on other tasks. Some skills, you can focus on other tasks. And I'm going to stop right there before I give you some skills that make good on for you to be a good delegator. These are skills that make a good delegator. And I'm going to read those to you shortly. But I wanted to kind of comment on delegating. It's easy for us as leaders to be the hero and to say, hey, I did this. Hey, I did this. But true leadership says, hey, I need some help. I need to find somebody who is effective and efficient and consistent in this area and tried and proven in this area. And they can do a great job for me, because at the end of the day, it's just going to help me or help that organization become better. I'll give you a prime example. Here on our podcast, we film too. We film, and I do a bulk of the audio editing and getting it to its proper places so it can be heard to the masses, right? So I can do that. But when it comes to filming, that's something that I have yet to tackle, although that's coming. I have yet to tackle that part of the podcast. I knew I wanted to start filming, but I didn't necessarily have the know-how. I knew what good equipment looked like. I knew what it would give you with the perfect equipment. So therefore, I had to bring someone on my team who is tried and proved. He's in school. He went to school. He has a associate's degree thus far, but he's working on his full degree now as we speak. And he's proven, he's tried, and he has some substance behind what he does. Guess what? That's a great fit for what I'm trying to do. So why not have him do that? Why not have him produce? Why not have him do those things that I may not be as good at? Not yet, but I can learn from him, but also he can do the work for me. And then I have a photographer. And then I tell those individuals exactly what I want, and they do it. And then I don't have to do it. As it pertains to logistics, I have my wonderful life partner, my wife, who takes care of that. The point that I'm making is I delegate these things to these individuals because, number one, I don't have time to do it. I probably won't be as efficient. I probably won't be as effective at doing it. And I probably won't have the professionalism that comes along with it because I'll be so concerned about just getting it out quickly for the sake of being consistent. And you want it to be professional, whatever it is that you're doing. So I had to get some people who were qualified at doing that. And they're qualified at doing it, so they make me look better. Doesn't take away from Ross Cloud. It enhances Ross Cloud because I have people around me who have a skill set that can make things a whole lot better for Ross Cloud. So some skills that make a good delegator, include, y'all, I know, accepting feedback from employees, allotting resources for employees, assessing employee strengths and weaknesses, defining expectations, and evaluating employee performance, identifying measurable outcomes, matching the task to the right employee, right? So listen, it's quite a bit on here. So again, you can go back to thebalancecareers.com, and you can look these up. And these are some great resources. Maybe you're having a hard time with delegating. This right here can help you delegate and understand the role. Because sometimes as creatives, it's hard for us to let our babies go. Whatever it is that you're doing. Maybe you're not a creative. Maybe you're a banker that owns a bank and you just feel better doing everything by yourself because you know it's going to get done right. I get that. But it's better to build a team that's solid, that's been proven and tried, and understand what you want. And listen, they're going to make mistakes in the beginning. They're going to make some errors. They're going to make mistakes. But again, it's your job as the leader of that ship or that business or that family to say, hey, now everybody ain't going to listen to you. You're going to have some billy goats in the midst. And if you really be truthful, before you got into a leadership role, you probably was a billy goat. You bucked up at every damn thing that leadership wanted you to do. And you thought you was hurting them, but you really was hurting yourself for future things to come for yourself as a leader. So listen, this is not about trying to tell you what to do. This is just saying, hey, I get it. I understand. Again, as I talk to you, I talk to myself. So we're all in this thing together. So try your best to be, to work on some of these things, and you'll find yourself in a great place. Number 4, positivity. Man, don't nobody want a negative person around them. I hate negative individuals. You want to be around somebody positive who's going to always speak light and not darkness, right? So let's go with number 4, positivity. A positive attitude can go a long way in an office. You should be able to laugh at yourself when something doesn't go quite as planned. This helps create a happy and healthy work environment, even during busy and stressful periods. Here's a tip. Simple acts like asking employees about their weekend or vacation plans will develop a positive atmosphere in the office and raise morale among staff members. I see nothing wrong with that. If employees feel that they work in a positive environment, they will be more likely to want to be at work and will therefore be more willing to put in the long hours when needed. That's a fact. I worked in restaurants for many years, and positive reinforcement is so important no matter what you're doing. But I'm speaking from experience. I remember managing in restaurants, and boy, if I was a butthole all week to my employees, when I needed somebody to stay, they'll say, "Oh, I can't stay for you, Ross, not today," because they're gonna teach you a lesson because you've been a butthole all week. You've been stressing them, and you've been projecting your stress on them instead of bringing positivity to the environment. All right. So keep that in mind when it comes to being positive. If you are a manager or a district manager, whatever it is, remember to use a lot of positive reinforcement. Remember to, ask, how's your family? How's your family doing? Without becoming too personable. I understand there should be a separation there and you don't go too far in it. But for the sake of morale and getting the best out of your employee or team members, then guess what, man? You want to be as positive as ma'am or sir. You want to be as positive as you can be. So here are some skills that can help make for a positive atmosphere in the workplace. Caring. I like to say compassion and caring. Just have to do it in moderation and use wisdom when caring and having compassion. Conflict management, so important. Developing rapport. Developing a rapport. That's what I'm saying. Developing a rapport with your team members or your employees. Both the same, but people who you are leading, develop a rapport with them. Encouraging. Friendliness. Helping others. Helping others is a big thing because when you're in a leadership role, especially in management, man, if you see the ship sinking, and I'll make reference to the restaurant business. I remember being in the restaurant business, and my maintenance man, we had been busy all day, so I had to pull him off of doing maintenance. Of course, he had to wash his hands, sanitize and everything, put on a clean apron. And I needed him to jump in to help us because he had been cross-trained on a few things, which is important too. But we'll talk about that. It's good to cross-train everybody in your business because you just have a strong foundation when you do that. If you can have a maintenance man that can jump off of maintenance and get in there and help you, it's just going to enhance your ability to have a strong foundation within your business and when you're working. So I had to pull him off of it. And why I pulled him off to do that, I went and I bagged up, I helped him get the trash out. You understand what I'm saying? So once peak hours were over with and I did my pull from my drawers and dropped cash and, made a deposit, put everything back in the safe, make everything was over, switched the drawers out and everything. Then I went to my maintenance man. I said, hey, man, come on, man, let me help you out. Let's go ahead and get this trash out. I'll pick this up while you take care of that. So there are helping others is so important. And it's good for that manager or that leader to get his hands dirty, especially if there's no one to do it. It shows so much strength. It shows so much humility, but it also shows that no matter what happens, if you quit on me, I can do your job too. You get what I'm saying? All right. So be helpful. Number 5, trustworthiness. That's number 5. Employees need to be able to feel comfortable coming to their manager or leader with questions and concerns. It is important for you to demonstrate your integrity. Employees will only trust leaders they respect. Exactly. So true. By being open and honest, at transparency, coming up again. By being open and honest, you would encourage the same of honesty in your employees. Here are some skills and qualities that will help you convey your trustworthiness as a leader. Have the ability to apologize. And I've talked about this millions of times, as a father, as a husband, you're going to find yourself apologizing. But again, apologizing to someone is for you. It's saying, hey, I acknowledge the fact that I messed up. I'm acknowledging that. And I want to apologize to you and say I'm sorry for it. Now, listen, they may not accept your apology on the spot, but you, as a leader, have said, I apologize. Please forgive me, and it won't happen again, especially if it's something that where you erred and you made a mistake. Takes a big man to admit, or woman, takes a big man or woman to admit when they're wrong or when they've made a mistake or when they've erred. But boy, you'll get some kudos for apologizing. All right. You may not accept it right away, but as time go by, they'll come around. You just have to allow that process to work out itself when it comes to apologizing and forgiveness. So accountability, again, when you apologize, you are taking accountability for your actions. Whether you're forgiven or not, there's an accountability that comes along with that. It's pretty much letting your pride die. You're putting down pride to say, hey, listen, I'm accountable for everything that I did. What do I need to do to fix it? And again, whatever it is that you've done or whatever the case may be, even though you apologize, there is a great deal of accountability that comes along with that. All right. So business ethics, confidentiality, so important. Consistent in behavior towards employees. Oh, wow. That trustworthiness is so important. Consistent in the behavior towards your employees. In other words, if you cussing them out, if you cussing your employees out one day and then the next day you come in, they looking at you like, man, we can't trust whether or not he going to come in here and be cussing us out. Today he all nice, and in about an hour or so he going to be cussing us out. Well, he may fire you. So you got him walking on eggshells. Don't do that. Emotional intelligence, empathy, honesty, integrity, a moral compass. All of those, credibility, but emotional intelligence, empathy, honesty, integrity, and having a moral compass. Like, man, use your better judgment before you make a mistake on your jobs as leaders. If it's not a job or you're an owner of something, you got to be very, very, very careful of the language that you use. And listen, I've made some mistakes over my life, over the years of my life. I've made errors. I've erred. And I've made mistakes. So again, as I talk to you, I talk to myself. But boy, you got to fix them and fix them in a hurry, Number 6, creativity. As a leader, you have to make a number of decisions that do not have clear answers. So you need to be able to think outside of the box a little bit. Exactly. Don't be in a box. Think outside of the box. That creativity will be the very thing that takes your business to the next level. Here's a tip. Learning to try non-traditional solutions or approaching problems in non-traditional ways will help you to solve an otherwise unsolvable problem. And that can be difficult because, nowadays, a lot of folks, we won't say nowadays, a lot of folks value traditions. And sometimes traditions are hard to break in whatever it is that you're doing. Trust me. Maybe you're part of, you're the CEO of a company that you took over that was a family business, and they've been doing it for so long, for so many years, and you come in and you're the new CEO and you have the ability to make change in some of those traditions or do away with some of those traditions. then sometimes you're going to have a little pushback from those that have been there for years, because everybody doesn't like change. So be creative. Many employees will also be impressed and inspired by a leader who doesn't always choose the safe way or the conventional path. Here are some skills related to creative thinking. So again, hear those words that they're using when it comes to creativity. Safe, conventional path, right? So sometimes when you're trying to inspire and lead people, sometimes it's not always cool to be safe or take the conventional path, whatever it is that you're trying to do. Sometimes it's good to think outside of the box a little bit so you can get the best out of what you're trying to accomplish. So here are some skills related to creative thinking: analytical, cognitive flexibility, conceptualization, critical thinking, which is so important. If you don't know what critical thinking is, curiosity, embracing different cultural perspectives, meaning your way of thinking is not the only way of thinking. Somebody else may have a different life experience of you, so their perspective or their opinion may be different of a situation. Foresight, being able to see before it happens, identifying patterns, imaginative, almost like you're going into a fantasy world, but you're going to apply it to something really happening, right? Innovative, being different, listening to other ideas. Again, it's good to have smarter people than you around you, people who have done things that you haven't done. So listening to other ideas are so important. Making abstract connections, being open-minded. You don't want to be around a whole people, around folks who just want to stay in that same sweet spot. People hold on to traditions, and it's hard. It's hard. All right, number 7, feedback. Man, I love feedback. I love to hear constructive criticism. All right. Here's feedback. Leaders should constantly look for opportunities to Lord have mercy, right? Number 7, feedback. Leaders should constantly look for opportunities to deliver useful information to team members about their performance. However, there's a fine line between offering advice and assistance and micromanaging. That is so true. You don't want to get into micromanaging because you'll find yourself doing that. Find yourself doing their job all the time. I don't want to do your job. What I want you to do is be effective and be good at what you do. I don't want to have to stand over you, because if that's the case, I might as well do it myself. All right. So it is a thin line between offering employees advice and assistance and micromanaging, because sometimes that advice can bite you in the butt. So just be careful. It's a thin line between it. So just be very mindful of that and be careful of micromanaging, because you'll find yourself always doing the job, and you'll be manipulated into doing that job all the time because you decided to go and micromanage. So it's a thin line. You want to cross train. You want to go back and check and make sure it's done right, but you want to let them make the mistake and then correct the mistake, By teaching employees how to improve their work and make their own decisions, you will feel more confident delegating tasks to your staff. Again, delegating is so important. Cross-training your people is so important, especially when delegating, you see something that they're good at, then you can pull them and say, hey, why don't we focus on you doing this? Such and such. Can you come do this? You've been here for 15 years. Can you come over here and do this for me or for the company, whatever, and still do your job? I'll make it worth your while in the future, whatever that may be. And you might want to stay away from that. You might not want to make promises that you can't keep either. So, just ask them to do that for them while they feel that position, until you can fill that position for somebody who can absolutely do it. So employees will also respect a leader who provides feedback in a clear but empathetic way. You want to have empathy for that person. Empathetic, basically saying, I've done this before, so I understand you're going to make some mistakes. So I empathize with you, but you're going to have to get it done. You know what I'm saying? Some skills for giving clear feedback. Here are some skills for giving clear feedback. Did you guys understand empathetic, having empathy for someone? I hope you guys kind of understand that. If not, on the next episode, I'll try to give a meaning to some of these words, but I'm pressed for time, so I have to keep going. But here's some skills for giving clear feedback, and they include, again, you can go to thebalancecareers.com and check this out and read it in your leisure when you get the opportunity. All right, being open to receive feedback, building confidence in employees, clarity, having a clear understanding of what you're doing, but also being able to convey it to your team in a clear way, clearly laying out expectations. In other words, you have to tell them for some employees, you have to tell them exactly what you want, what you are looking for out of them, because without that, you're not going to yield the performance or out of that individual or what you're looking for out of your business. So make sure you're clearly laying out expectations. That's so important. Say what you need to say and mean what you say. Coaching. Make sure you always coach. Nope. You want to go back, do it again. Redo that again. That doesn't right. That wasn't right. And you'll see that on football fields. You'll see that on basketball. You'll see that with any sports and with anything that you're doing. Nope, I got to go back and do that right. You may be coaching yourself along the way. I've made mistakes here on this show, and I had to go back and I had to say, hey, man, you sound terrible on that. You need to fix that. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't want to come across some kind of way, and that's not the case. All right. So coaching, following up. So follow up with them. In other words, so tell me the meaning of this. Maybe you want to do a surprise test. What does it mean whenever you do this? Or what does it mean when you do that? Why do you do that? So following up is important. Frequent feedback. So you want to give your feedback on their performance. When I was working in a restaurant, we used to have to write down goals. And then we would follow up on the next time that we saw that manager, that multi-unit manager. We like to call them area supervisors. You follow up with them and they'll follow up on you with your goals. So that's frequent feedback. Listening to employees' responses. So listen to what they have to say to you before you actually harp down on them and say, well, we ain't going to do that. Now, I said, this is what we're going to do. No, listen to the employee. It may be something great that they're saying. Mentorship, positive reinforcement, so important. Providing specific advice, and be respectful whenever you're doing all of these things. Number 8, responsibility. And we're about to close here. I'm running out of time. So responsibility, a leader responsible for both the success and failures of his or her team. Therefore, you need to be willing to accept blame when something does not go correctly. I'm going to tell you right now, if something messes up in that system or that business that you're running, people are not going to look at the people who are helping you. They're going to look at you as the CEO, as the owner, whatever that is, that manager, whatever it is, it's going to fall on you from the top to the bottom. It's going to fall on you now. All right. If your employees see their leader pointing fingers and blaming others, they will lose respect for you. Oh, it's so true. Accept mistakes and failures and then devise clear solution for improvement. Now, here are some skills and qualities that help leaders convey their responsibilities. Acknowledge the mistake. Being open to customer feedback. Evaluating best solutions. And those are just 3. You can go back and read some of these at your leisure. Number 9, commitment. How many of us have failed at that? Being committed to something. I know I have. And we ain't going to talk about marriage when it comes to commitment in marriage. But commitment plays a huge part in whatever it is that you're doing. You got to be dedicated to it. You got to be committed to it. And that comes to relationships, that comes to business, that comes to whatever it is that you are responsible for or you're leading. Commitment. Number 9. It is important for leaders to follow through with what they agree to do. You should be willing to put in the extra hours to complete an assignment. Employees will see this commitment and follow your example. Similarly, when you promise your staff a reward, such as an office party, you should always follow through with it. A leader cannot expect employees to commit to their jobs and their task if he or she cannot do the same. So remember, they're watching. They're listening to everything that you're saying. Some skills related to commitment in the workplace include applying feedback, commitment to company objectives, determination, embracing professional development. And number 10 is flexibility. Mishaps and last-minute changes always occur at work. Leaders need to be flexible, accepting whatever changes come their way. As stated before, I've been there. As a manager of a restaurant, someone doesn't come in, then you have to be flexible. If you're running the show and you're the manager of the restaurant and that assistant manager, he or she can't come in, guess what? You're going to have to stay or get that shift covered. If you can't get it covered, then that's where the flexibility is going to have to come in, and you're going to have to stay and cover the whole day. And boy, it's tough, but you got to be able to do it. Employees will appreciate your ability to accept changes in stride and creatively problem solve. In other words, they don't need to see you breaking down or melting down in the midst of something being changed. You make the change and then you deal with it. You don't stop because it's not working right. You know, if everybody was to leave me today, I can't quit podcasting. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to have to go harder. I'm going to have to figure out, okay, wait a minute, I can use my phone. If I want to start filming, I can use my phone to make this happen or that happen. So employees will appreciate leadership abilities to accept appropriate feedback. Here's some skills related to flexibility, and they include ability to learn new skills, ability to respond to new problems or issues. That means don't stress out. Just adapt to it and get it done. Adaptability, just what I just said. Improvising. Hey, you may have to improvise. You may have to take a shortcut and do it this way. Maybe you can't use that register. You're going to have to use one register and the drive-through register. You know, whatever the case may be, because you need that person that was up front to go up back and be your cook so you can watch your time frame. Again, all of those things work together. Negotiating. Boy, when crunch time comes, you got to be a hell of a negotiator. And again, I'm speaking from the perspective of being a manager. Hey, man, look here, man, I need you to stay. I don't have this person. Can you stay for me? You know what I'm saying? You'll get some extra hours. I'll let you take a meal home. Or you can take 2 meals home. Whatever the case may be, as long as it doesn't interrupt the flow of the business and it doesn't affect the business in any way, you can use your better judgment as a leader. You know, maybe you can give that employee a gas card or a gift card the next day that says thank you. So negotiate that time because you're going to need them. Open to feedback, recognizing individual strengths and skills, and treating employees as individuals. In other words, just because they are an employee and they may not be at the top of the echelon or whatever it is that you're doing, treat your employees right and show them the respect that they deserve. They're still humans, all right? So listen, I hope that something has been said on today that can help you become a better you. Make sure you check it out if you want to go back and read those tips again, thebalancecareers.com. As our conversation today, as I spoke with you guys today, was on leadership. You know, something as simple as leadership. Some things we take for granted, but there are resources out there to help you become a better leader. And we could have gone even deeper into this, but it's just me today. And I wanted to just kind of share my thoughts on leadership. And I felt that being a leader before. I'm not acting like I have it all together, because I be telling you a damn lie. But what I am saying is you grow and you learn, and you're going to make mistakes along the way on your leadership role. As long as those leadership roles, don't hurt you or damage you for future things that you would like to do. So be mindful on how you lead and the abilities and the different skill sets that you use. So I hope some of these soft skills today kind of put it in perspective for you when it comes to leadership. Again, as I talk to you, I talk to myself, and I like to grow. I like to continue to grow. And as a good leader, you want to surround yourself around people who know more than you, who may be at the top of something. You just want to be able to surround yourself around people who have a certain skill set that you don't have. They may know more than you, man. And it will help you just grow as a leader and to be the best leader that you can be. So I hope that on today something was said that can help you become a better you. Listen, make sure you go and check out the Ross Cloud Podcast on YouTube. You can also check us out at Lunchbox Dreams Media. You can check out some of the visuals that we have, and make sure you like and subscribe to both of those pages. You can follow me on Facebook at Ross Cloud Podcast. You can follow me on Instagram at Ross Cloud Podcast. You can follow me on Twitter at Ross Cloud Podcast, and you can follow me on TikTok at Ross Cloud Podcast. Make sure you like and subscribe and check us out. There's more to come from the Ross Cloud Podcast. Keep it locked and stay tuned. Listen, make it a great day and keep being great. I'm Carl Ross Sr. Peace.